Hey everybody, are we going down?
Oh.
Hey everybody, welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Vancouver. My name is Marshall Sutcliffe. I am joined in the booth by Steve Sadin. And we're going to be seeing round 12 here. We're looking at Jeff Cunningham on the right-hand side versus Tom Martell on the left. Now, Jeff is a Canadian Magic player, a longtime player, and he also used to do some writing, for the Magic community.
Yep. In his heyday, he was one of the most popular Magic writers.
Okay, and you said he's humorous. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's currently a working actor.
Is that right?
Yeah. He stepped away from Magic and got into acting.
Man, acting seems like a really good profession if you want to be a Magic player. You know, like, you have a real busy schedule for a while, but then there's a lot of downtime. We get a look at Tom Martell here. He needs no introduction. He is a Grand Prix champion, also a Pro Tour top eighter. He's wearing his Channel Fireball shirt there. And yeah, Tom has, recently, maybe not recently, in the past few years, come back and established himself as a formidable pro out here on the tour.
Tom Martell's actually been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He played in his first Pro Tour close to a decade ago, actually around when Jeff Cunningham got his first and so far only Pro Tour top 8.
Okay.
Played in some Grand Prix, played in some Pro Tours, got busy with school, went to law school, started trying to qualify for the Pro Tour again, didn't have much luck. Till he came in second at Grand Prix Columbus a while ago. That really got him kick-started.
That was Legacy?
Yep.
Yeah, and he also won a Legacy. Are we seeing dueling crew and strikers here for both of our players?
Is there a trade in our immediate future?
I mean, if Tom plays a creature and attacks, it's not unlikely that Jeff would...
No, he has a Pillar of Flame.
Oh, he's going to just take that thing out and play a creature?
Striker.
What is this going to be?
A Nightshade Peddler. It looks like he's immediately pairing and attacking Jeff down to 17.
Yeah, seems pretty good. I think Jeff might have mulliganed to 6 here as well. All right, so it looks
Jeff
like
has a Latch Seeker, which normally is known for its offensive prowess, but I think that Jeff would be very happy to block here.
Yeah, I mean, it says unblockable, but it certainly doesn't say can't block.
Yeah.
I think people don't think of it in those terms. I think a lot of people just think I'm going to attack with this a bunch of times, but yeah, it trades quite well. One of the few creatures that can trade straight up for like a Nettle Swine.
Yeah.
And if Tom had a Nettle Swine in his hand right now, he'd probably consider just offering to trade here and then dropping a Swine. But
now Tom almost certainly going to attack with both of his creatures here. He would likely welcome a trade. Does he have a creature that he wants to play first? Does he? Yep.
It's a Borderland
Ranger.
Yeah. Seems like a fine play here. So we're going to get a chance to see if Tom's splashing anything here. He'll likely go for a...
He is. He has a Plains.
So could we be seeing a Righteous Blow in our future here? If he's able to play the Plains, attack... If Jeff blocks on the Cruin Striker and there's a Righteous Blow, Jeff would take all of the damage.
Correct, because it has Trample. Tom Martell would then get to assign all 3 of the trample damage directly to Jeff. But I don't think that Tom would splash for Righteous Blow here.
Yeah, it's definitely not one of the cards that you would think of. Is there a blue card in Tom's hand? I can't see. All right, he's going to play it safe. He doesn't want to offer the trade here.
Just the Nightshade Peddler.
He's just going to attack for 1.
I'll admit, that surprises me.
Yeah, it surprises me as well.
He has a Satchel Revolt in his hand. You can see he's hoping to get in a lot of damage with that next turn, but I think that I would have just attacked with the current striker there.
And just offered the trade. I mean, he gives up a fair bit of damage in that transaction. Three extra damage. Well, it's actually only 2 extra damage, though. So you might be right. 4-drop coming down. Are we going to get a...
Tom down to 17.
Mist Raven, maybe? Mist Raven it is. It's going to hit the striker. And it's going to set Tom's plan of getting a big Thatcher Revolt hit in back a bit here.
But, even though it's taking getting pushed back a bit, Tom will still get a lot of damage out of that sequence.
But now Jeff has 5 points of evasive power on the board, and he can just start racing.
Right, he's very much oh!
Is that a Nearheath Pilgrim? That is a Nearheath Pilgrim, which is definitely good.
So the race just got quite a bit better.
The race just got complicated, yeah.
Both the Pilgrim is paired with Borderland Ranger, and the Current Striker is paired with Nightshade Peddler.
Yes.
So if Jeff decides to block with his Mist Raven, it would trade for either creature, assuming Tom doesn't have a pump spell of his own. But choosing not to attack with the Current Striker on the last turn is actually going to have a lot of huge implications throughout the course of this game.
I mean, it's represented. It's going to represent a lot of damage that Tom's going to take on the backswing. And this is, of course, we are assuming that Jeff would have blocked, but I do think he would have.
Right, and if he doesn't block, that's just all upside for Tom.
Really good.
He gets in an extra 3 points of damage. It looks like Jeff is trading his Mist Raven for the Nightshade Peddler.
That can't be too happy.
He decided to take the extra point of damage from the Borderland Ranger.
All right, so we see a Lone Revenant come down on Jeff's side. This has hexproof. It's a 4/4. It has an ability that if it hits your opponent, you get to do Impulse. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, but it has to be the only creature you control when it hits, so that's not as relevant. Really, this is a 4/4 hexproof for 5 mana.
So now we have a much better understanding of why Jeff chose to block the Nightshade Peddler.
Yes, that makes much more sense.
But right now, Tom could play that Thatcher Revolt, make his Current Striker into a 5/5, and get in a decent attack. It could take out a pretty large chunk of damage. But that is indeed what he's going to do.
So Thatcher Revolt comes in.
Does he
trigger.
Have another creature to make his... Oh, no, he does not.
Oh, he's just going to ship everybody in. So he's realized that if they're going to race, he needs to race. He's going to have to... Because he's giving away his Nearheath Pilgrim here, basically, right?
Sure. Tom's board is not going to be great at the end of this turn.
But he's hitting for 10. He's going to gain 4.
He's going to have... Assuming there are no tricks, he's going to have a Current Striker and a Borderland Ranger with Jeff on 4 life.
With Jeff on 4 life, Martell will be on 20. And,
so it's not going to be easy for Jeff to attack here.
This is interesting. If Tom can somehow play 2 creatures in a row, then he can force a block, theoretically by the Lone Revenant.
So Tom has gotten Jeff very low, but he still needs to find a way to break through.
Yeah. He's going to, one of the cards he could have here is something like Thunderbolt, right? Which can make both of Tom's creatures lethal.
Sure.
I mean, Jeff can have a lot of follow-up play here too, though. Looks like he's still content to get in with his Latch Seeker, though. He's got to keep the clock going. Another one? That's a Wingcrafter and an Alchemist's Apprentice. That seems fine. Oh, we've got to burn at the stake. So if we would have seen it, so Tom's game plan was crafted around burn at the stake. His entire, that whole attack makes perfect sense when you know that he has a burn at the stake for 6.
Just needed to get Jeff low enough that he could finish off the game with burn at the stake.
What do you think about burn at the stake?
I think it's a phenomenal card.
What do you think about it in a deck with green, white, and red mana?
Well, it doesn't look like he has that much white, and we've seen at least one Borderland Ranger to help Tom fix his own mana. Ideally, Tom would be straight 2 colors, so he could get to red fairly easily. But he clearly has at least a little bit of mana fixing. It's not necessarily the hardest thing in the world for him to get his green, his red, and his white. And you don't need to cast Burn at the Stake quickly. In fact, a lot of the time, you don't want to cast it until the 9th turn or the 10th turn when you have enough damage for it to actually be lethal.
I think it is kind of funny that the Borderland Ranger and Burn at the Stake seem to be very good friends.
Yeah.
Like, one enables you to get the mana to cast it, while he also taps to do 3 damage. Eventually, it's kind of a little mini combo there.
Tom also has Statue Revolt to go with his Burn at the Stake.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. Now you need a bunch of mana. You need 4 red mana on board to pull that off, plus 4 colorless. But that's sweet.
Yeah, you could have a completely empty board, play Statue Revolt, and then hit your opponent for 9.
I like it. I like that. Because you could. That's just with the Statue Revolt. Like if you had any type of board presence beyond that, you could. I mean, I've done 21 with Burn at the Stake.
That's a completely reasonable thing to do.
I mean, my opponent didn't think that it was completely reasonable. But I did.
I could see why he might be a little bit unhappy about that.
I thought it was. I thought it was just fine. Tom's thinking about his sideboard options here. I mean, when you've got 3 different colors going in your deck, you know, he's got a couple of splashes. He might have a few things that he wants to bring in.
Interesting from what we saw of Tom's splash. Got a Near-Haste Pilgrim, and what was the second white card?
Was there a second white card?
No, I guess we didn't see a second white card.
I think it was just a Pilgrim. I'm trying to remember, but I think that was the only card.
That's a lot of respect for Near-Haste Pilgrim.
What do you, Tom, you give it them? Would you splash for a Near-Haste Pilgrim? I mean, we don't know the makeup of his deck, but in general?
A lot of times, it wouldn't even occur to me, to be honest. Tom figured that he's going to be in a lot of tight races. He has things like Cruin Striker that can get pretty large.
Yeah.
He wanted a way to keep himself in these games, to give himself enough time to win with the Statue Revolt combined with other key cards or a Burn at the Stake. So even though he's stretching his mana a little bit to get it, he figures that his upside is high enough with it. He doesn't need to play it on turn 2.
Yeah.
He can play it on turn 6, pair it with a Nettle Swine if he has it.
Yep.
Just any sort of big dumb animal.
Yeah.
And get a lot of mileage out of it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think that is one of the strongest cases that you can make for splashing on your Near-Haste Pilgrim, is that a lot of times when you look at a card like that, you do think in terms of, but it's a 2-drop. Like, you're never getting that on turn 2 with your splash, but yeah, really, Near-Haste Pilgrim can come down at almost any point in the game and have an impact. Like, there's almost no time when you wouldn't just want a Near-Haste Pilgrim down.
Yeah, it's actually fairly easy to gain 4, 6, or even 10 life with it.
Yeah. I think the card's very good. Like, I think I might value it more highly than you do.
It certainly sounds that way.
Yeah, I mean, I would consider splashing for it. Like, I've seen that card be such a huge factor in the games that it gets resolved in, and I've seen it pretty consistent. Like, it's not like this one time I won with Near-Haste Pilgrim. It's like, man, every single time I resolve that card, it just feels like I'm getting a huge advantage. There are some decks it's not as good against. I mean, it's never bad, but maybe not with splash.
If you're playing against, say, a mono black control deck, not necessarily where you want to be.
There you go.
Players that are off to game 2.
So we're assuming that Jeff's going to be on the play here.
But he has to start off. Oh, both players start off with a mulligan.
Maybe Tom was just being fair. Unlikely?
That doesn't seem like the kind of thing Tom would do.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Offer any advantage he can.
He is a competitor. Yeah, he's a really interesting guy. You know, he's gone through kind of a few different walks of life. You know, he's done programming, he's a lawyer. He now works in a, you know, kind of finance area, you know, doing investing stuff. I mean, he's just one of those people that you meet and you're just like, this guy's very smart. He could pretty much do whatever the heck he wanted, you know. And it's one of the reasons why I like Magic is because he decided to play Magic, and it makes me feel better.
Yeah, Tom's been playing Magic since he was a kid. Like, he just loves the game.
He told me a funny story once. I actually had him on my podcast.
Okay.
And you know, I was asking about when he got started playing and stuff, and you know, he went to the same high school as Luis Scott Vargas did, and you know, he said there's not a lot of people in my, you know, on the pro tour in my circle of friends, that kind of thing, that can say I'm not the best Magic player from my high school, but right. he's one of them.
Oh, and both players are drawing up their 6-card hands. So Jeff is keeping his. And starts off with a Nefalious Smuggler.
Good start. I mean, this card doesn't really impact the board until later, but it's nice to have a 1-drop.
he can punch in a few points of damage with it, or get in an early block.
Yeah.
I have no problem putting a Nephalia Smuggler in front of a Croon Striker.
Oh, that's a good point.
You can save yourself 5, 6, 8 damage.
Yeah. So Jeff's playing your favorite two-color combo in the format.
It is indeed.
Are the cards that you've seen from Jeff the kind of cards that you want to be running in that deck as well?
Some of them.
In your ideal build?
Actually, my favorite version of Blue-Red is very aggressive with multiple copies of the Wingcrafter.
Okay.
And then cards like Croon Striker and Falcon Wrath's Exterminator.
Okay.
I want to get in many hard hits as possible quickly.
Okay.
Oh. And
he's
Jeff
going to crippling chill his guy?
Yeah, he just
wants to cycle that bad?
Spell.
That's kind of awkward to have to crippling chill your own guy, but you do what you got to do.
Sure. He gives up a point of damage, but now he can cast the Latch Seeker.
All right, and we are going to see Wolfear Avenger flashed in on end step here.
Yeah.
And it's going to attack.
Jeff actually didn't give up any damage. In fact, may have saved his Nephalia Smuggler from getting an early demise.
Yeah, that's true. Tom plays his fourth land before combat, so he can regenerate twice, although he knows that's not relevant against one mountain. There's no block, and we see a Havengul Vampire come down. Now this is a card that, I mean, how would you feel about that card in Jeff's deck? Not a high
I don't
impact.
think he has that many cards that directly work with it. I might play it.
Ooh, double Latch Seeker.
Wow.
This, my friends, is what we call a clock. So
Tom's got to do something big and fast.
So Tom
needs to have either a removal spell, or maybe a Satyr Revolt would do a lot because all the tokens die.
They get sacrificed as opposed to exiled, and you would get a counter for each of them on the Havengul Vampire. The Vampire is going to get a +1/+1 counter whenever it hits Jeff, and whenever another creature dies. Now, it can get huge really quickly.
Jeff does have
that's 3 mana.
Oh,
it's a Lightning Prowess.
Lightning Prowess. That can just pick apart Jeff's board.
Lightning Prowess, and he also has regeneration backup. He's just going to make sure that this 2-card combo stays out. We're going to see a grown Havengul Vampire. It is very likely to attack here. In it comes. It's going to be a 4/4 when Tom untaps. This is a huge swing in Tom's direction.
Now, Jeff really needs a bounce spell.
Yep. And Tom Martell says, I'm just going to run a Croon Striker out. I'm not going to worry about
he's not worried about 3 damage. There aren't that many
There's
spells.
Nothing.
There's Thunderous Wrath.
Thunderous Wrath and Burn of the Stake.
Yeah.
Because Burn of the Stake can hit creatures.
Yep.
But, no problem. Wow. The momentum swung very sharply on that turn. That was a huge turn for Tom.
Jeff went from having 6 power of unblockable creatures to just being desperate for any sort of answer.
Right. Well, you might as well get one last attack here.
Puts Tom down to 12.
So Spectral Prison comes down. Now this is one of the answers that he could have had. That's very interesting. Because that not only takes the creature off the board in effect, it also shuts down Lightning Prowess here, which is one of the few cards that can do that.
So now Tom needs to find a spell of his own to
kind of shift the momentum back.
Jeff also has that Nephalia Smuggler that he can use to help neutralize the Havengul Vampire. And maybe buy himself enough time to win with the Latch Seeker.
So you're thinking he can block?
Oh, wow.
What just happened?
Tom does have a Satyr Revolt.
Ooh.
That's big.
Now, these tokens are not going to be sacrificed until the end step. So the Vampire is going to still just be a 4/4 on attacks here. But
the Croon Striker is a 5/1.
5/1 with Trample. So doing any Nephalia Smuggler shenanigans wouldn't have helped this anyway, so he doesn't have mana for it. But
it's hard to imagine Tom doing anything other than swinging all of his creatures.
Yeah, there's not anything in this set that costs 1 red at instant speed.
Unless maybe he wants to leave his Vampire back to block Croon Striker, but no, he just attacks with everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think because Tom's at 12, he's thinking, we're okay here.
Jeff could have a Satchel Revolt of his own, which would have been 5, 8, 11. That would have been lethal, assuming Tom doesn't have anything else.
Oh, really? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the one from the smuggler. Wow.
But I'm not sure that Jeff even has a Satchel Revolt in his deck.
Do you usually run Satchel Revolts when you're playing your version of the?
It depends on how many copies of Cruin Striker and Riot Ringleader I get.
Okay.
But a lot of times I'll just leave it in my board or not draft it at all.
Okay. Vigilante Justice, thoughts? Too slow for your deck? Because I've done a lot of damage with the Vigilante Justice, but
I don't know what to think about it.
It's one of those things that you play for 4 and it doesn't do anything right away, and it's kind of a tough sell.
Yeah, I've definitely won games with it, but it's also caused me to lose a lot of games because it just doesn't do anything. I just don't have a good opportunity to cast it.
And Tom is going to Pillar of Flame his own wolf to knock off the Spectral Prison. Now, do you like that play?
He
wants to untap and have a pinger, but
in much danger of dying this turn.
I mean, he could have just Pillar of Flame the Latch Seeker or the Cruin Striker and put himself in a very, very safe spot as well.
But when Jeff blocked with the Nephalia Smuggler, he demonstrated that he probably does not have Satchel Revolt, because that would have been lethal right there.
Truth.
I think had Jeff not blocked at all, Tom would have been more likely to Pillar of Flame one of Jeff's creatures.
So in order for Jeff to win, he would need something like Thatcher Revolt plus
Pillar of Flame of his own,
or
another
Mauler
creature. Yeah.
All right, so
Tom now on 6.
Tom's on 6, and Jeff rips his own
Stone Right, and that's going to be...
That should be the game.
No, he can force Jeff to chump block the...
Well, but both creatures are lethal.
Yeah,
he's at 3, so...
He didn't even need that.
No. The only card that Jeff could have had there that could affect that in any way is a Fleeting Distraction, and I don't think that would have been enough either.
Not
they were both significantly more than
Stone Right.
Right, because now all of a sudden it's much bigger. So.
Or did he have enough mana to appeal from reality?
No, he had one blue.
One blue.
Yeah,
so
just one blue up. Yep. If he had